Well, I'm back. I had a child care issue after Christmas. I finally got the shop inspector into a new daycare, so I can get back to work. I'm gonna get back on the floors. I gotta start by knocking all these rivets out in the seat, where the seat is hand riveted to the floor. And once I get that out, I'm going to make a drive shaft. I'll move this back onto the lift, and then I'll make a mock-up drive shaft and then see how much clearance I need. I know I'm gonna have to cut up and make at least one piece. I guess it will be part of the tunnel, but yeah, like there's got to be a C-notch kind of deal for that cross member that's at the front of the seat. I don't know if I'll have to do it for the back one. I hope not. It would be nice, but it's a really big transmission. I found out I don't have a 2-speed power glide. I have a 400 turbo. So much better transmission, huge, big transmission. So get all that notched out, and then we can start making floors. But until then, I gotta start cutting out these rivets. So here we go. That was interesting. I got all those out. Now we get to move on to making the drive shaft. I'll show you everything I got cut. I didn't nick my transmission too bad. Had 2 rivets left that you can't really see because it's packed full of 100 years of dirt. And but I had 3 right here, and then 1, 2, 3, 6 up front. So 3 on each side, 6 up front, and then 2 here. And I'm going to go from like here to here and just remake this style, which if you can see past all the rat shit, there's rivets in here too I gotta take out, and then that panel can come out. But I can cut right here, and then that'll get a lift on it, or an arch, or whatever, arch there, so I have clearance. Because right now I got my yoke in there, and it ain't gonna spin those full circle. It was smacking the floor. I put it in around Christmas because it came in $45 from Walmart. You wouldn't think you could buy drive shaft parts from Walmart. But we'll see if it's made out of solder or not. But yeah, cut that out. Go ahead and get all these knocked out, and make a drive shaft. I don't know if I'm gonna have to modify this one. I hope I don't, just because it'll be easier. But it looks like it's smooth in the way, so it's probably gonna get same kind of deal. And then it'll probably just tunnel underneath, and then that piece I just took out, it'll get notched and to match, and then filled, because it's a double panel right there for that. If you saw me using the automatic 1931 seat control, it's got that corkscrew that goes through there. Mind you, as high as I put this, that won't matter. I don't think it's going to tear into that that screw, so hopefully I can keep using that. Not like I need it, but make that to match, get all these done, and the drive shaft. But I think the next thing I'm gonna do is take the rest of this lip out, just because I'm already set up to be grinding rivets, and then I can punch them all out, because they ain't coming out. They're still sitting in there. So I'll get them all punched out, and I'll take this little lip out and then cut this out, and we will probably call it a day after that. So let's get at it. All right, we got that done. At least the cutout. Got this piece cut out, and all them rivets gone, and the seat gone, and that panel lip gone. Now I gotta make a drive shaft. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. All right, I got the drive shaft made. I got that seat pan cut out. I didn't cover making that drive shaft because I did it all messed up. I took parts that I had because I didn't want to spend money on getting the drive shaft now and it be wrong or something, or I have to change something, and I didn't want to spend the $400 they want for a drive shaft right now. So I just hogged out some drive shaft holes for the universal joint, and I taped the back, and then the front, as you can see, I just hogged it out, pressed it in there. And then I actually do have the right yoke in there, but that's the only thing that's right. Other than, well, I guess it gave me my length. And then I just took the two pieces and welded them together. So I didn't cover that because it doesn't really matter. But I'm at the point where I'm gonna make this piece and get it in there before I cut this out, because this will have to get cut out to make a hump there. And then once that's done, I'll make this pan. So yeah, we'll get this done, then I'll move on to cutting that out, making this one, and then I'll make the pan. Let's go. Okay, so I got this piece made, which is our first little cross member. I didn't film it because you've seen me do it 100 times. It's like 290s, a bunch of lines, and sit there and kick the shrinker stretcher for a long time. So now I'm changing these out, and I'll get to doing the 90 on that. And then I can start cleaning up to put it in. got this piece started, and I'll show you this other one made. A lot of this stuff at this point is kind of boring, and so I don't know what to film. So this piece is made. I gotta make one this size, because then I'll have one here and I'll have one here, you know? So I'll show you me kicking this now. This is kind of why a car gets made in a 30-minute TV show, because a lot of this shit's real boring. So I kind of don't know what to film and what not to film, because some of this stuff's just real monotonous. You see me do it over and over, but here you go. So, after enough of that to make me sweat, what we got here is a nice curve. And if you look real close, there's not really a gap in there. So now I gotta come back, and I don't even know if you can barely see it. I'm gonna try and put it in the light. You can barely see it. There's a line that's 3/4 of an inch on the edge of that. I gotta tip it like how this one's tipped. Woohoo! Finally got that wrapped up. Just gotta set them in here. Weld this first one in. Oh, we're not even on anything. Gotta weld this one in, and then I got the other one finished, and it'll go there. So, cut that out, weld that in, clean all this up, and then we'll be welding. Okay. Well, I got one put in, and it needs to be ground up, but I was gonna cover something that you'll come across with some of these, especially if it's not like 100% perfect panel. I took and I slit the sides so I could hammer them in. so it would meet up better. And it's got to be all ground out. And the front fit up better than the rear, but hammering that in gave me a better, it wouldn't overlap, and not like you're gonna see any of this with carpet on anyways, but it just gives a better finish. And so that's what I did. I'm gonna move on to this one, and then pretty much done. I'm kind of gonna reward myself, I guess, and make this panel, because that's what I want to get to doing, is doing those. I still have to make one more cross member for the back, but I don't think I'm gonna have to put a step up in it. I think it's just gonna go straight across. So we gonna get to that. Finally got that done. Now we get to move on to something a little more entertaining for me. Measured in here. I'm gonna oversize it because I have to address for that, but I'm just gonna make the flat part. And then if I make a template for just the flat part, then I can add the fold downs. And I'm kind of gonna cheat on this one instead of sitting there and trying to shrinker stretcher the middle and it walking all over the place with that big a panel. I'm just gonna cut that piece out, and I'll get it made and bead rolled, and these pieces, I'll get it made and bead rolled. This I'll just bend up over something, whether it be a oxygen tank or something like that. And I'll get these pieces bead rolled, this section bead rolled, and that section bead rolled, and then I'll be able to take the front and rears and do do a 90 and then do another 90. So I have a panel here that I can weld to this. And then for these sections, I can just put a piece in there that I can 90 and bop, bop, bop with the shrinker stretcher, and then just TIG weld it back in. And then be at my finished product a whole lot quicker and not mess up material. I'm sure there's guys that can do it on first shot, but I'm fairly new to this. I don't let the view that you see of me doing this make you think that I know everything I'm doing, because I don't. I have this push through mentality, so it's like you'll get it done one way or another. But I'm gonna switch it over to making the template and all that jazz. Got my template ready. Now, like what I was saying, so I even arched it. The the roll is rolled up. So I used that side and just put these two sides in the brake. So, but it's not gonna sit down in there. I'm gonna make it flush, and I'll weld it from the bottom with like rosette welds. And this piece will have a bead roll in it, and that side will have a bead roll in it. But what I'm gonna do, like maybe this is a better description of it. I'm not gonna put this piece in there until almost everything's done. It's gonna get welded in. But these two pieces, so here, 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 same on the other side. I can put it's like 3/4 of an inch down and 3/4 of an inch inward. I can put that on there and bend it, you know, so it can go on there, and just notch the corners, because there's a factory rivet in each corner that holds this panel to these panels. So I can do that, and then I can just move faster, and then I can shrink or stretch that 3/4 of an inch lip, and then just weld it back in, grind it out, you know, and then I'll be done a whole lot faster instead of spending a lifetime trying to do that, or losing a whole day doing it, you know. And I could either make the whole thing in a day, or I could just get that bend done in there, and you're not gonna see it in the end, you know. It's gonna be, this is under the seat, and I can grind out the weld anyways. But got this, and I think I'm gonna wrap it for the day. I may lay out my bead roll design, which is just gonna be, it'll be level here. It'll be level with all this. So I'm probably gonna step it down and put a baloney X in it. It's what I call it. It's where you don't just take a die and run over it once in both directions. I actually track all the way around and make an X. I don't know if you've seen me do that. I don't know if I've done that on a video, so I'll cover that. So, but I'm calling it a day today, and we'll get back on it another day, probably. So I'm ready to bead roll this panel. I got the pattern laid out. I'm gonna, this line, step down, X, step up. Should have done it before I bent that in, but I got excited. So we'll see how that goes. The panel's too big to have done it anyways in one piece, because it's only a 2-foot depth bead roller. So I was gonna have to do it in 2 pieces anyway, so it's not that big a deal, but whatever. So I'm gonna get on it. All right, I'm ready to put the one floor pan in, and I got it all primed, or weld through primed. Now I just got to move the welder over here. I got all the holes knocked in it. I got to knock some holes in the car itself, put all my clecos in, and then remove them one at a time and weld everything together. Here we go. Ready for the next step. I got to make the rear cross member and then close out this front tunnel. Let's see if I can get a good angle. Yeah, so I got that guy done, and I got to move back here. So I have to from here. Let's see, no. Basically from where the new panel starts to the other side where that welding clamp is. I gotta make another cross member, and I'm gonna make it this size. I'm gonna make it this size back there, and then I'm hoping that that one can be flat, and I can just, you know, make a little semicircle to close the tunnel out. And because it slants down a little bit right there. So that's what I'm gonna get on right now. Got that in there. Got here, and there, and here welded. And here, there, and there welded. Now I gotta make this, I'm gonna make this panel, because it's gonna be the hard one, because I gotta have the piece for the drive shaft loop. And then that panel back there, I think it's gonna have to have some blisters for that. Hopefully just that. But now I get to move on to this template. Yay. So here's where I'm at. I got this template made, and I'll make this out of a second piece. It'll probably have to be planished, and I'm going with a smaller drive shaft, like the back portion, so it'll just tie in there. And yeah, then I can move on to the easy one, which is this one, which will have one blister. Maybe, hopefully. Okay, here we go. Flat. I'd like to do it in one piece. Probably not gonna happen, but it would warm my heart if I could do this in one piece, because it's pretty complicated. It's a simple, complicated piece, because like I could definitely just cut this out, bend it over one of the tanks like I did for the others, and then walk this corner up, bam, slam this in, you know, trim the edge and weld it together. So that's simple, but you know, I don't want to do that. I want to have the curve. I want this in one piece, and it may just turn out how, you know, I had a different design with those panels where I wanted them flush with everything else, and it just wasn't in the cards. So I ended up cutting them and putting them in, and they went in real quick. So, may come to that. It'd be nice if it'd go in one piece, because, you know, we're running low on metal and don't really want to go get it anymore. I'd like to just at least wrap out to the tail panel, so I can install the shifter and the brake assembly, and us start doing the fronts. But we shall see how it goes. But what I have so far is it's pretty much flat. I went and marked my panel. It's flat to like here. And left and right's a little bit different. But, because on this side, I don't know if you can see the video, but there's where it starts kicking up, but this is 4.5. That's 4.5. So I kind of just moved it up because I'm gonna have to bend it all evenly. And I don't have a slip roller, so I could do it in the English wheel, which I don't really want to do. I really like doing like complex curves with that. But I think I'm just gonna put it in the brake and just walk it out like every, you know, couple of, like ½ inch to an inch, and just give it a little touch to give it a little, because it's just a slight turn up to fit in that back. And then I'll set it in there and see really what it wants. If it's too flat and it doesn't really want to do what I want it to do, then I'll give it a little bit more. Now this piece, I'm gonna have to do that in the English wheel. And it's gonna be a lot of back and forth in this one spot, and then tracing over it with the bead roller to make that break. So that one's gonna be an ordeal, and it's gonna use dies that I have that I've never used before. So yay to new stuff. But I'm gonna get on that, and I'm gonna try and cover a lot of it. This video's dragging on, but I'm trying to at least close it out to the tail panel, so I don't have to make another video and go, hey, here's a little touch up on what, you know. I want it all in one so you can watch the whole thing at once. But I'm gonna get on that, and I'm gonna try and get everything on video. I keep working and forgetting to turn the camera on, so I want you to see it all. But here we go.
just wanted to add this on here just so people could see how loud this machine is. So if you got any people hanging around your shop that just want to talk and keep messing up your progress, go slam your panel on here, and they will leave very quickly. It's one of my favorite things to do when I was apprenticing. So you're welcome.
Got that one in. So, got that one in. Now I gotta clean up in here where all the shavings are. And then we're gonna move to the very back and get that panel done. Before I do this front panel, let's see if I can get a good shot where both of us can see. Before I do this panel and the kick up and remake the firewall, because I'm gonna bring the firewall down, and it will have a different curve than what it had factory, and I'll tie into all this factory style, and I'll remove that, break all the stuff for there, because I'm not gonna have a column right here. It's gonna be
it's not gonna run through to the outside there. It's gonna come out the cowl, and I got that on order, and they're making it. It's custom made. Something or another, we'll cover that when we get to it. But before I make these panels, I need to mount my shifter, which is sitting on the roof right now, and I gotta mount my brakes, which I'm gonna have to. I called the person that makes this frame, which is Brookcraft out of Wisconsin, I think it is. I called them, and they recommended me send back the kit that I got and order from another place, but I don't want to do that. I want, like, the kits I seen from those two places don't look any different from what I got. I want to run a booster because it's just going to make the vehicle stop better. I mean, I could run it. I've ran vehicles. If y'all have ever seen the 40 Chevy that we did in here, it didn't have a booster because I wasn't modifying that cross member. But this is a simple little deal. I'll just. It's like this right here, which you still can't see because it's real dark. Anyways, I gotta move a piece of the inner structure back like, I don't know, 6-8 inches to have clearance for the booster and the master. And that's what I'm gonna do instead of sending stuff back, having to return it, wait for it to hit the bank account, then purchase another one, then wait for that one to come in. And I'm gonna tell you right now, everything's on back order. Everything. So I'm not going through that. I can have this fabricated up and ready to go before it even gets back to the warehouse. So I'm just gonna do that because I already have the brake pedals. I already have the shifter. The shifter is no problem. It's just gonna bolt on, and it's made for this transmission, so I shouldn't have to modify anything. And if I do, it's gonna be something small. But I have to modify the bracket to the frame, and I'm gonna run the pedal up through right here, which is I didn't take this part, so I think it's where the column ran through factory, but I could be completely wrong, so don't hold me to that. Gotta modify that, put those two on, then I can start making templates for these. But before I do that, I'm gonna do the back. And I'm really thinking on whether, once I get that on there, if I want to go ahead and redo the bottom of the quarters and do the tubs. Because then basically from the seat back, we will be done with metal work on this thing. If I do that. If not, I can go up here and start doing this part, and then once my steering column comes in, I can just pull the gas tank out, put my filler panel in, get my new dash, get my steering mounted, and then this thing's ready to wire. But I'd still have that metal work that need to be done, and the cowls would need to be done. So yeah, got to do those. So next, we're gonna move on to that. Long way around to say we're gonna do that next. All right, gonna get on. So we're at making that the last panel in the very back. I already had the template made, and I got the metal out. Well, it's a solid just curve all the way down, pretty much. And the curve of if you can see, that being curved, it lays right in there perfect. But the sheet metal is flat, and I don't have a slip roller. It's on the list, but I ain't got one yet. But what I do have is a brake, and we're gonna see if I can walk it into that contour. I could put it on the bead roller, or not the bead roller. I could put it on the English wheel, but just keeping those solid track lines, I know I can
knock it up. It might come out looking like a Sapporo can where it's like, but we gonna see. And then, you know, once I get that done, I can bead roll it and it'll kind of take some of that out of there, and I can sand it out too. So I'm not gonna go real heavy on it, but we gonna see how that goes. Here's what I got. Now I just gotta lay my pattern out and bead roll it and cleco it and weld it in. All right, and it's all in there. I ended up getting that last panel in there, and I had to adjust the pan hard bore while it was out. Here we go. But they're all in there. I've got to do the pedal assembly and the shifter, which I have both of those. I got to make a metal run. Go get some more metal. This ate up all my 18 gauge. Get this turned off. But I'm gonna wrap the video here, and but the next thing I'm gonna focus on is getting that pedal assembly mounted and the shifter bolt right on, but getting the pedal assembly mounted, and I have to modify the frame to do it. So like and subscribe, and yeah, have a nice day.